Hi there, good morning to you. You're welcome to Newsroom here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, comprehensively, these are top stories. Finance Minister is expected to present bills on repealed taxes to Parliament today. We'll get some updates from the House shortly. Now, while many welcome government's decision to scrap the E-Levy, some Momo vendors allege it is a relief with hidden challenges. We'll interrogate. We'll touch on local governance as governance expects laud plans by government to pay assembly members monthly allowances. We'll also touch on the international front where DRC faces setback in fight against Mpox amid ongoing fighting in the east of that country. We have details of these and many others all in the 60 Minutes belt. Please do stay tuned in. It's now time to unpack the news. We begin with the economy as Finance Minister Dr. Kezia Latoforsing will today, Wednesday, March 12, present a bill to Parliament under a certificate of urgency to repeal several taxes, including the Burton tax and electronic transfer levy, the E-Levy. Now, this comes after his presentation of the 2025 budget and economic statement, where he announced government's intention to reduce the tax burden on citizens. Dr. Felsen says he is confident of the backing from his 183-member side of the House. He also assured the President's readiness to assent to the bills when passed.
Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 10% withholding tax on Burton. We will abolish the electronic transfer levy, E-Levy of 1%. We will abolish the emission levy, otherwise as the Woodley tax. We will abolish the VAT on motor vehicle insurance policy. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 1.5% withholding tax on unprocessed gold by small-scale miners.
To a tax expert on concerns raised about the introduction of new taxes, even after the abolishing of some taxes. And GHOne who is a leading tax expert. He joins me. Good. Okay, let's listen to him.
Since the election, the mood and the sentiment within the country has been very good, and it was important that
some of this mining
GHOne has concerns that Ghana's recent tax policy changes could undermine investor confidence. This follows Finance Minister Dr. Kezia Latoforsing's announcement during the 2025 budget presentation.
and then the message we are sending to the mining community will not sound very good, and then it creates a lack of confidence in our government. Mind you, we are now looking for certain investors to come and invest in the lithium mines or other rare minerals, and they'll be looking at all of this and they say, hey, even if Parliament goes ahead to approve my agreement, another government will come 4 years later and say times are hard or things are difficult for the country, and therefore we want to change the rate and do 2% or 3%. So it's going to get government its revenue, but I'm much more worried about the message we are sending out to the investor community.
All right, so let's go to Parliament and engage our parliamentary affairs correspondent Ibrahim Alassan and find out what the business of the House is. Has the Finance Minister already presented the bill to Parliament? Ibi, what's the latest in Parliament?
He took my leaf and I gave him the floor. He spoke the language, and if even the facilities didn't contemporarily interpreted it, he did the interpretation himself. So for me, it satisfies 61.3. Let's move on. Minister, you may respond to his question.
I started in Gunja, but because of time, I just want to assure. I want to assure my honorable colleague, who has distinguished himself in the English language as well as in the local language, that his constituency will be catered for. Thank you.
I think we have done. I can't turn you down, but please, with respect.
With respect, I caught your eye. You signal that I should wait. I will have the last bite. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, if I may.
No. Are you not the one regulating?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, in the Minister's response, he said that some contracts were awarded without commencement certificate. He has just told us that there are about 3,000 containers at the port, and demurrage alone has cost this state about 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. Would the minister agree with me? Minister, would you agree with me that these constitute financial loss to the state, and for that matter, the steps that we are taking to ensure Honorable
Deputy Minister Designate.
Yes.
Your question is stand down.
No.
Please.
Okay.
I wouldn't take your question.
Let me reframe it.
I wouldn't take your question.
Let me reframe it, Mr. Speaker. Let me reframe it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is that some contracts were awarded without going through the normal or due processes, and now there are 3,000 containers at the port. I want to find out from the minister whether you will constitute a committee to go into these matters so that corporates will be brought to book.
Let me thank the Honorable Samson Aye for asking this very intelligent and thought-provoking question. Let me assure him that we are already investigating it. Thank you.
Yes, finally, thank you.
Speaker, a very interesting answer from the minister, describing the question as very intelligent. Speaker, my good friend, the minister, earlier as part of his answer, I think if it was a question of semantics, he said that the energy sector economy that was inherited, he used the word rundown, a rundown energy sector economy as inherited. Then on the latter part of his answer, he says a weakened energy sector of the economy as was inherited. Well, it is curious to know that as rundown and as weakened as the energy sector was, the lights were kept on. Very interesting. And then he went ahead to say that excess power is being exported. Curious. I'm curious to find out from the minister. How are you able to export excess power when you have inherited an energy sector economy you describe as rundown and weakened?
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, when you inherit an energy sector in 2017 with a debt of 9 billion and you collect energy sector levies 45 billion and you leave President Mohammed working from a debt of 80 billion, that is a rundown energy sector. That is a fact. 45 billion collected to solve a problem of 9 billion and you hand over an 80 billion debt energy sector, that is rundown. How do you export power? Because when we were leaving office, we left projects like Ameri, AXA, GPGC and the rest. And because those plants are available and you are unable to supply to the domestic market, because the system is run down, you export it to countries like Burkina. So that is cogent and that is sacrosanct. That is logical. I am here to answer a question as to why the Kumasi area is been suffering from erratic power supply. And my answer was simple, that system had obsolete equipment, had not been managed well, the system is weakened, that is why there's erratic power supply. But when we inherited it, based on the measures I outlined and enumerated, the sector has seen some remarkable improvement. I thought that my good friend, the Honorable Anodompre, who is leader, would have commended the Mohammed administration rather than try to condemn us. Thank you very much. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we've now done with the urgent question. Honorable Gina Poster has 4 other ordinary questions to answer.
His answer was a simple one, that the system, the transmission system in the region is challenged. The equipment obsolete, and these were in existence, and I'm talking about the challenges with the lines when the new administration took over. So what has happened is that in the interim, some measures have been rolled out, some level of stability in power supply to the central region, and of course it's not totally resolved, but the assurance the minister gives is that as time goes on there will be much more investment in replacing these obsolete equipment to ensure that the people of our central region enjoy stable power supply. Of course, you heard the Member of Parliament for Asante Achem at North, OK Frimpong, asked his question in Twi, and that was what generated some controversies. Of course, after asking the question in Twi, he interpreted in English, and then to the minority side, that should not be Habib Idrisu making that point, and the Speaker overruling that particular submission and saying that indeed, once there was an interpretation, the Asante Achem North MP was well within the standing orders of Parliament to ask his question in a local language and then give an interpretation. So, Lily, that's what's happening on the floor. The MAT talked about bills, the financial bills and amendments, including the betting tax and the E-Levy that the finance minister has announced will be laid today. Is yet to surface here in Parliament. If you look at the standing orders, it's not captured. But of course, the day is not done yet. There could be other paper addendum where these bills will be presented. But as we speak, Lily, those tax lines, those amendments have not made their way to Parliament yet.
And he's our parliamentary affairs. But Ibrahim, I wanted to find out, why is the minority side empty?
Well, the day after budget presentation, these things are expected. But of course, it's been the
technology is not our best ally this afternoon. But while many Ghanaians have welcomed the government's decision to scrap the E-Levy in the 2025 budget, the celebration comes with unforeseen challenges. A mobile money vendor at Tiptoe Lane at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle anticipates tensions ahead as the policy does not address the Agent Transaction Commission, which is still deducted at source.
I don't have any problem with the taxes that the government has removed from the system. But my problem is I want the public to understand that there's a difference between E-Levy and mobile money charges. When you are withdrawing money, the network take charges from you. When you are sending from your personal phone, which is a subscriber, that is where the E-Levy applies. So people complaining outside that E-Levy has been taken off, so when they are withdrawing money, they shouldn't pay any charges. That is not right. So they should come back again and educate the public very well. E-Levy applies to subscribers sending money from their phone to other subscriber or to agent number. But withdrawing money from agent points doesn't apply E-Levy. So Ghanaians should bear it in mind that E-Levy doesn't apply to agent transaction, it's subscriber transaction.
Well, let's engage the Executive Secretary of the Mobile Money Association of Ghana, Evans Otumfo, on this development. Thank you very much for joining me here, sir. Good morning to you.
You too.
Right. Government says we're abolishing E-Levy. Are you excited?
Yes, we are really excited. Looking at the impact of the levy on our businesses and that of homes. So government announcing its intention to finally scrap the E-Levy. It is a welcoming news to us, and we can't just wait for that to happen. You know, right from the implementation of the E-Levy, we have been advocating that this particular tax is counterproductive, and so the government should consider taking it off. And it's been back and forth to the point that the levy has to finally be reduced to a percentage. And so if at this point in time the government keeping to its promise of scrapping the E-Levy and has finally taken process, we consider this as a welcoming news that is in the best interest of the industry and our businesses.
You say it is welcome. Has it affected your business negatively?
Hello, come again.
I'm asking, you say that the abolition of the E-Levy is welcoming news. Was the introduction of the E-Levy affecting your business negatively?
Yes, of course. At the point, the platform hasn't been so or effective. Agents were being charged E-Levy, or I would say the E-Levy was actually consuming the working capital of agents, aside the other existing withholding and other MMPs, assemblies, levies and charges that we have been paying. So the E-Levy has really
Mr. Sufo, you say it was affecting your capital. How?
Yes, it was affecting our capital. We have also been doing transfers. We transfer funds from the bank to our agent account. We transfer funds from the agent accounts to the bank for purposes of liquidation. And all of these, we have E-Levy being applied to it. And sometimes you would be deducted E-Levy. You try to contact the mobile money network providers, and they tell you visit or call on DRA or call on the bank that did the deduction. The bank will also direct you to go to the mobile money service providers, and it's been shifting of responsibility from one entity to another entity, and in the end, your money will be taken without any means of you getting the fund back. So E-Levy, it hasn't just been an impact on just the consumer, but the mobile money operators also. We have had a fair share of, its impact, to the point that, funds are locked up, monies are wrongfully deducted, and you would complain, and at the end of the day, there's no solution being provided. And in some instances too, we have to close some of our shops. Others will have to be laid off. So it has then our profit margin and the volume of transactions and the number of customers that also come, because the customer is complaining of how expensive the E-Levy was, and so they transacting on the mobile money platform comes with so much discomfort to them, and its ripple effect is that the business of mobile money agent is also going to be affected. So the E-Levy, since its introduction, nobody would say that it has been in the interest of our businesses. We're already paying other taxes already, and if for a fund that is on my wallet, which is not revenue or profit, and just moving the fund, I will be deducted E-Levy. We believe that it is really counterproductive when it comes to our businesses.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Evan Sotumfo. He is the Executive Secretary for the Mobile Money Vendors Association of Ghana. Still on the budget, local governance expert Dr. Frederick Odro has lauded plans by government to pay assembly members, saying the move will go a long way to improve local governance. In its first budget presented by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kesi Alatufosin, the Mohammed government allocated 100 million cedis for the monthly payment of assembly members. This, Dr. Odro says, is a step in the right direction.
Very excited about that arrangement because it remains a very difficult area in local government. A number of assemblies do not have enough resources. We've created assemblies by law. We should have been looking at their economic viability, but most assemblies are not economically viable. So they have tended to depend more on allocations from central government than their own abilities to raise what we call internally generated funds. Because of this challenge, these assemblies can hardly perform their functions. Most of the General Assembly meetings and other meetings cannot be held as they should by law. So the assemblies have lost out on quite substantial funds and they are not able to function as expected. The coming on board of central government to support support the payment of allowances can go a very long way to ensure that the assemblies can conduct their business and be able to pay for the allowances that assembly members need to carry out their duties. So I am particularly excited by that arrangement.
Let's still stay on the subject and engage Dr. Richard Fiadumo. He's the president of the Chamber of Local Government Challenge. Good, still morning. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, my sister. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I trust you're doing well too. Do you believe there's the right move?
I'm doing fine.
I was asking if you're also of the notion that this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, certainly. I think that first of all, I want to congratulate His Excellency GHOne for fulfilling a campaign promise that God wills as the president to make sure that assembly members have the allowance. Yesterday, the figures. So we think that it's a step in the right direction, going to expand the frontiers of local governance and decentralization in it. It is also going to go a long way to bring some level of efficiency in doing assembly business. Because in the past, we have seen that assembly members are paid such allowances, so they take money as and when they sit for meetings. So sometimes when meetings are called, they think that they can do other things to get something better than going to the assembly. They use that option. The General Assembly of the MMDA. It also affects the subcommittee meeting. So clearly, this will serve as an incentive for assembly members to take assembly business very seriously.
What do you make of the decision as well to directly issue 80% of the district assembly common fund to the assemblies?
It is also good, but I honestly have my doubt if that can be implemented very well.
Okay.
Because you see, as we speak now, the MPs are taking 8%. Persons with disability are also supposed to take 3%. That works up to 11%. Some funds must go to the National Youth Authority, National Disaster Management Organization, then the HIV/AIDS Fund. So unless government comes out to tell all of us that all those funds that are going to these entities are no longer going to go, I didn't get anything like that. So if those funds are going to be there, I have my doubt to achieve the 80%.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. That's Dr. Richard Fiadumo. He's the president of the Chamber of Local Governance. Moving on, activist Ralph St. Williams in a circulating video was seen in what appears to be a confrontation with Member of Parliament for Nshaiso, Stephen Ngama, during the commencement of the 2025 budget reading. According to Ralph, the MP had no moral right to criticize the NDC when, in his view, he had failed to address the country's economic challenges.
Yes, Mr. Seka, Kawanutum of Parliament, now on mine, the new finance minister, every kind of Bekaima Ghana for, oh yeah, the Mubeka Tusono, and yet the union said the Ghana Bequim, and yet the best sabotage of mine, any or mining council. Yes, she shall see the new Parliament, then that money for. So we are hoping. Second, I'm not attacking you, sir. Don't say that. I am not attacking.
He just met me and was attacking me verbally close. So I didn't mind him. So I just asked the policemen, how come they made somebody followed me that close, position, that I don't know him. I don't know whether he's a good or a bad person, somebody you don't know. If he had meant to do something bad to me, he would have done it before they even come in. Then lo and behold, I came here. The same person is all around me attacking me. So I really find it very difficult. I have never met him.
You feel safe?
Safe? Oh my God. Boss, there is God. I have God, and I'm not somebody you can walk over. I'm not somebody you can walk over. Maybe what he wants to do is, by my position, he wants me to misbehave so that they capture that. But at least me, I've been talked to. So a lot of things, I don't do them again. Then you ask me what I'm doing in my constituency. I started listing all of them. That too is an issue. So it's something deliberate for him to attack me. I don't know who has asked him to attack me. But the point is that I'm going to make a police case. Because now it's very dangerous that somebody you don't know, somebody you've not offended, keeps on stalking you, saying all sorts of things, having videos and photographs of you, I'm going to give you, I have his photograph now. From here, I'm going to the police station, and then they should call him. What I've done. Everywhere you are following me. Boss, I won't do the interview.
But I'm coming. What's happening? You come. My problem is that this man actually deceived Ghanaians by crying on air for Ghanaians to know that Ghana is actually collapsing, and the leadership of this country is not actually serving the people of this country with the kind of leadership we deserve. Mr. Stephen Amwa cried. The evidences are there. Okay, if you want to know, you can come to my page.
What's wrong with that?
Ghanaians.
He was sending across a message. What's wrong with that?
Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government spent $58 million digging a hole, whereas today, when you go to Amasamai Opa Basic School, it rained and there was an air blow, and their roof has been taken away. As we speak, the school does not have roof over their children's head, and they are equally Ghanaians.
People actually use the powers we have given them to intimidate us. There is nothing wrong for a citizen to ask persons that we are putting into offices their responsibilities and what they are doing. I am only sending this for Ghanaians to know that we have the right to question the people we put in authority. That's it. And he feels that that is a threatening, and I don't have no issue.
So what's the
That's what I'm waiting in front of you. There was one party of so on one beside.
Well, we have the right to question, but there are appropriate channels. Let's find out more on social media. Nanama Akwa joins me with those thoughts and comments. Nanama, what are people saying on social media?
Well, we are talking about the budget, the day after the budget today. So, as you can see, it was quite eventful. So, we went straight over to Facebook. And when you go there, Benjamin says the hypocrisy in this country is nauseating. If betting is supposedly bad, so are all forms of lottery and alcohol and condoms and cigarettes, etc. Why not ban them all completely if the tax on them were meant to serve as a disincentive? We move to our next comment. We have Emmanuel. Those people condemning betting, and the woman. Okay, let me skip to what is actually the crux of his message. How can I win a bet of 30k and government will take 3k for no reason? I call this robbery in the broad daylight. When we hear Shirley, E-Levy abolished, betting tax abolished, emissions tax abolished, visionary JM delivers, MPP is full of lies, opposition, she says, forever. We also have Iris asking why to me betting tax should even be increased to deter people from gambling. Our next comment, we have Sam. Ato Forson has spoken the truth to Ghanaians. He is far better, comparing him to the previous finance minister. He also says, my own MPP have disappointed us. We have Kwame, a budget that is freezing recruitment. Meanwhile, those that were recruited by the previous administration have had their appointments revoked. He meant to say there. Awal says today, the real men spoke. They spoke less, they spoke sense, and they kept their word. Sam says, yeah, it's not a Sakwa budget, it's a QNet budget. And still on, we move over to Instagram. Mingle says, Mr. Minister, I will not buy made in Ghana products because they are not quality. Well, maybe you are buying the wrong ones, because I have some and they are quality, depending on where you purchase them from. Kala Spade says, okay, we have Eugene. Shame on you. You presented the budget in a suit. We have our next comment on Instagram. Have Zainab says, to those of you asking when, don't you guys know that it has to be approved by the parliament? Well, that's what we have for you on social media. Continue to send us your messages on Instagram, on Facebook, and on X. My name is Nanama Akwa. Lily, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Nanama, for those thoughts and comments on social media. We're back with more after this break. Stay tuned in. Welcome back from the break. The CEO of the Youth Employment Agency, Malik Basantali, has stated that the agency is working to address unemployment in Ghana by tapping into the high demand for skilled labor in the diaspora. Speaking on GH today, he explained that countries like Dubai and Serbia are seeking skilled workers in areas where Ghana has an underutilized workforce.
Out there in the external world, we have high demand for a lot of the skill we underutilize in this country.
Okay.
In fact, I had a deal we still studying in Berlin, and I was told that, in Serbia, I was told that in Serbia, you would have to book a tiler for about 3 months ahead of time before you could get a tiler. You have to book a mason 4 months ahead of time before you could get a mason. Yet we have enough masons we've trained here. We have enough tilers. So why don't we leverage our migration window, legal migration window? And so we set up a department called the Work Abroad at YE. Currently on Friday, the 18th, we'll be launching it, the Work Abroad program, in alliance with the Ministry of Employment, the ministry, my mother ministry, the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Development and Empowerment, the Ghana Immigration Service, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to set up a migration window. So this app we're creating currently is going to first be piloted in Ghana and in Dubai. All labor, part of the labor, the excess labor to Dubai. And so that particular skill that is needed there would land them there, and our embassy there will, our embassy there will facilitate their smooth stay in Dubai. So
Malik Basantali also said that to address the challenge of companies not hiring due to inexperience, the Youth Employment Agency plans to train young graduates after national service and provide them with employment cards after completion of the training.
A lot of graduates finish school, they undertake national service, and companies are still afraid to recruit a lot of these people. All they tell you is that, look, go and get an experience. But the question is that which company is going to risk employing you first before another company that says get the experience will gradually take you later in the future after you've worked with a company for about 10 years. And so it's become a challenge. And as young people, I think that's worried. Look, young people go out there with CVs. The businessman will take your CV and all he's looking for is work experience. If he doesn't see any work experience, he says, look, you don't have a work experience. I need somebody with at least 10 years. Where did that person with 10 years, where did he get it? There was a point he had no work experience, and a company hired him. So why is it that we are challenged with employing people who just came out of school and undertook their national service? I think that the challenge had to do with the assurance the person could do that particular work. And so at YE, we are setting up a corridor where we create what we call the employment card. Before you attain the employment card, we will take the risk of absorbing you as a graduate who's undertaking national service. We'll absorb you into one of our models, would give you that skill, and would issue that employment card. That employment card will certify to any employer that this person does not have 10 years experience, but the employment card that has been issued to him means that the person can serve as an accountant, the person can serve as a treasury head, the person could serve as an estate officer, because we have given the person that additional soft skill, we have trained the person, we have tested the person, and the person could be absorbed without 10 years experience.
To a rather sad note, a young man believed to be in his late 20s has allegedly committed suicide in Kede in the eastern region. He was found hanging on a piece of cloth on a tree at the back of a house. The deceased, a former student of the Kede Senior High Technical School, was discovered lifeless under circumstances that have left the community in shock. The police have deposited his body at the Kede Hospital morgue for further examination to determine the cause and circumstances surrounding the incident has begun. Still in the Eastern region, its regional minister, Rita Kusia-Giawati, has visited Bodua, a suburb of Akwetia, where a 14-year-old GHS pupil tragically drowned together with other 2 children in an abandoned Galamsey pit within a week. The boy, an orphan, reportedly fell into the water-filled pit near his home. The incident has sparked outrage among residents, with the grieving family blaming the District Security Council, DISEC, for not addressing earlier complaints about the dangers of abandoned illegal mining pits in that area. Our correspondent GHOne has more.
A day meant for celebrating Ghana's independence turned into a tragedy for this family in Bodua, a suburb of Akwetia in the Eastern region. A 14-year-old orphan, a GHS1 pupil of Bodua Presby, drowned after falling into an abandoned Galamsey pit filled with water just a few meters from their home. Residents say they had repeatedly warned authorities. The Eastern Regional Minister, Rita Kusia-Giawati, visited the bereaved family and described illegal mining as a life and death issue, assuring them that government will crack down on perpetrators.
Children. We have spoken a lot about Galamsey and illegal mining. Last week to today has shown us the real effect that we are talking about. We then got to the house of our son and our lost son, Kruche. We met the family. We normally say that illegal mining is just not an economic issue. It is not no more a security issue. It's a life and death issue. We want to continue advising people around that let's make sure we mine and mine very well.
Meanwhile, the Assembly member for Bodua West electoral area, Vincent Akwali, expressed his frustration, accusing the District Security Council, DISEC, of failing to act despite several warnings.
We appeal to the DISEC whenever there is an information concerning illegal money going on somewhere, they have to act. They have to act, because as for this money, we have reported to them on several times, and I don't think there's any action taken. If not, that pit will have been filled or covered before this incident. You see, so in fact, what is going on is very, very pathetic.
Reporting for GHOne TV from Bodua in Akwetia, GHOne, Eastern Region.
From the Eastern region, we take a quick trip to the Western North region, where there also tragedy struck in the early hours of Tuesday when 2 rival groups of illegal timber loggers clashed in the forested area of Sehuajimadiam in the Jabuso district of the Western North region. The violent confrontation resulted in the death of 5 individuals, with several others left severely injured. Now, according to sources, the groups were reportedly involved in unauthorized timber harvesting activities, which have been increasingly common in that region. Tensions between the 2 groups had been escalating over control of prime logging areas, which ultimately led to the fatal conflict. The incident, which took place in Ajimadiam, saw the 2 factions engage in a deadly confrontation using machetes, pump-action guns, and other tools commonly used in their illicit activity. Eyewitnesses claim that the situation quickly spiraled out of control, leading to the tragic deaths. A Mitsubishi pickup with the registration number GA907517 was also set ablaze during the scuffle. The deceased have been identified as members of one group, though the identities are yet to be confirmed by authorities. The police have since been deployed to the area to carry the dead bodies and ensure calm. now tell you the stories in the sports world. Monica Bukari, lady in pink.
In pink, you are in peach, kind of, right?
Yes. Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, Real Madrid. We are playing this evening.
I know, that's why I'm laughing. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. But I have great news for Ghanaians because Keto Kweko has secured position with the CAF Exco member. So it gives us a voice as a country when it comes to continental football. So great news for Ghana.
We'll see how that pans out for Ghana.
Certainly. Let's bring you more after this break. Do stay tuned. Now, President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kweko, has been elected to serve as Executive Council member for the Confederation of African Football. Keto Kweko, who also serves as the President of the WAFU Zone B, ran unopposed for the position and has successfully earned a place on CAF's decision-making body. His new role will now allow him to shape key policies that impact the development of football across the continent. The Ghanaian football administrator is currently serving his second term as president of the Ghana Football Association. Keto Kweko's new position at CAF will provide a platform for him to now influence the growth and development of football on the entire continent. Now, Black Stars head coach Otuado is expected to announce his squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying games against Chad and Madagascar this week on Friday. For the first time this year, the four-time African champions will regroup for the match day 5 and 6 games of the qualifying games, having been criticized for their distasteful performances during the AFCON qualifiers. The Black Stars are determined to change the narrative as they hope to secure 5th qualification for the Mundial, which will be staged in the USA, Canada and Mexico next year. As a result, Otuado. Now, the international front, Liverpool have been kicked out of the Champions League after Paris Saint-Germain made history to knock them out on penalties at Anfield. The victory means PSG have become the first team ever to knock Liverpool out of an European tie leg away from home. The French champions went to Anfield with a 1-0 deficit from the game in Paris. Liverpool unable to break the French visitors down, while PSG were a constant threat. Speaking after the game, Liverpool manager Arne Slot described the game as the best football game he has ever been involved in, and also added that his side should have won the game.
It was the best game of football I was ever involved in. I don't have the history like Liverpool as a manager, but two teams of incredible level, with incredible intensity in the first 25 minutes. Okay, I also remember the first 25 against Man City at home and the first 25 against Madrid, but this was unbelievable what we showed in the first 25. And I looked at the scoreboard and we were 1-0 down. Over 90 minutes, I don't think we deserve to lose this game of football today. Over 180 minutes, maybe it was deserved that we went to overtime. In overtime, I thought Paris Saint-Germain was a bit better than us, so in this half hour. And then it comes down to penalties, and yeah, they scored 4, we 2, and we lost.
And that's all for sports, but do join us on the game at 1 p.m. here on GHOne TV and also on Star FM. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Lily Mohammed.
Hala Madrid.
Madrid.
We'll see how you perform tonight.
Play with a different kind of spirit when it comes to the Champions League. So I'm not giving up this evening, even with the likes of not so certain with Mbappe. But Bellingham is back, so I'm very sure.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, let's head to the international front. Now, 6 weeks after Rwanda-backed rebels captured 2 major cities in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the region is facing a setback in its fight against the Mpox outbreak. The DRC has the highest burden of the virus, with the epicenter in the east. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that as fighting with the M23 escalates, more than 600 Mpox patients fled different hospitals. It said the country saw a 31% increase in cases last week, bringing the total to close to 16,255. Many patients cannot be found. Now, recently arrived vaccines are running short as supplies cannot reach combat zones and hospitals have been under attack. The authorities have reportedly started negotiations for a suspension of hostilities to allow for a humanitarian corridor to bring essential medical supplies into the conflict zone. Mpox can be passed on by close contact with anyone with the infection and causes fever, muscle aches, and boil-like skin lesions. Let's now head to the entertainment zone, shall we? Now, in today's edition of How Ghanaian Are You, we hit the streets to test how well informed Ghanaians are about the newly created administrative regions. We asked citizens one simple but crucial question: what is the capital of the Northeast region?
The capital of Northeast. I
No, I don't know. Northeast. Oh, I can't really tell. Northeast. Is it what?
Northeast. Northeast. I should be. Tamale.
I'm not familiar with it.
Tamale.
Northeast. Savannah.
Hey, they want me to go inside and vote.
Well, you saw the answer on your screen. The correct answer is Nalegu.